Hi guys, this is KlazartSc bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on a new series. This was played just this weekend between SKT1 and Hwasong Oz, both two top teams in the Shinhan Bank Pro League round 5 of the 2008-2009 season. Game 1 is going to be an outsider. We've got Jaedong in green at the 12 o'clock position, and we've got Hyuk in yellow at the 6 o'clock position. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. We've got Jaedong, the premier Zerg player, playing right now with probably the best historical Zerg versus Zerg win rate we've ever had, hovering around that 70% mark. And we've got facing him Hyuk, a player with a 33% overall win rate, and a win rate versus Zerg of around 44%. So I think it's safe to say that Hyuk hasn't really lit the Pro League alight thus far, or for that matter, the Pro StarCraft universe. I'm sure some of you guys who listen to KlazartSc's commentaries will know that he's not a big fan of Hyuk. But, you know, I've got to say, I got to give respect to any guy who plays in the Pro League. Obviously, they've worked very hard at their skills, and they've got to have some talent to make it this far. You know, considering the thousands upon thousands of players who play StarCraft, you know, to be in the top 1% or less, probably, that it takes, probably less than even 1%, I would say the top 0.5%, I'm completely pulling that number out of my hair, but I would say that the top 0.5% would be the percentage of players that would actually manage to make it to this level, if not less than that. So it is an achievement, and we shouldn't knock these players down. Hyuk looks like he's starting up his gas a lot earlier than Jaedong. Looks like he's going to try and get some early tech going, or maybe get early speedlings, and really try and catch Jaedong off guard. But unfortunately for him, it does look like both players were scouting in the correct directions. Both players over. This is a 3-player map outsider, and Hyuk really going for a strategy like this with that early extractor would have needed for Jaedong to scout in the wrong direction to catch him by surprise. As it is, he's gone for sort of a cheese build. Jaedong now starting up his extractor and spawning pool, and it's not going to pay off for him because Jaedong's going to scout it and be able to prepare for it in time. Jaedong going for what looks like an overpool build. Actually, he's gone for a 9. Sorry, has he gone for a 9 pool? Sorry, I completely missed whether he produced a second overlord there. Yes, he's gone for an overpool build. So now Jaedong looks like he's going to take his natural expo. But yeah, a lot of you guys have been wondering where I've been. I've got to say, rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Obviously, I've been busy with a bunch of stuff going on, you know, it's not so easy to take down Skynet. I've been very busy in dealing with that. But speaking of that, speaking of Terminator Salvation, I was there to see it this weekend with Mrs. KlazartSc and some friends of ours. And Jaedong now, obviously having scouted that, putting out his 3 Zerglings. Hyuk immediately starting up the lair. I don't think I'm not sure if he's gone for speed upgraded Zerglings as well. But Hyuk will have a slight advantage in terms of his lair is going to pop out slightly earlier. Jaedong now with the 6 lings out. Hyuk with only the 4 lings out so far is going to get the next couple of Zerglings out. So Jaedong, I feel, is going to be able to put pressure on Hyuk a little bit early on. Hyuk really committing himself to this tech build, and it's going to be interesting to see which of these two players come out. Jaedong just sending his 6 Zerglings. Hyuk now starting up his second hatchery in his main. He obviously is not able to defend that natural expo, which is going to give Jaedong an advantage because he's going to have that second gas. So that's going to. So even though Hyuk is going to have, and Hyuk now has defended his ramp with his lings, he just put his lings up at the top of the ramp. He's got 6 Zerglings as well. Jaedong with the 6 Zerglings at the bottom of Hyuk's ramp. So Jaedong putting the pressure on Hyuk early on, and Hyuk obviously will need to micro, and really Hyuk will have to make maximum use of those Mutalisks because he is going to have that Spire up earlier than Jaedong's. Hyuk now starting up his Spire. Jaedong's still not complete with the lair, and really it's just a question of whether Hyuk can do enough damage with his early Mutalisks to Jaedong to translate that into an event. Hyuk managed to sneak a couple of Zerglings through Jaedong's block at his ramp, and so he's going to be able to get those Zerglings right up in Jaedong's main base and harass him. He's going to force Jaedong to spend larva here, but Jaedong did get that second hatchery up earlier, so Jaedong can well afford to do that. Jaedong now with the second Spire going up, and that is obviously one of the limiting factors in Zerg versus Zerg is the larvae. But yeah, speaking of, since this is Jaedong versus Hyuk, and I do, despite the fact that Hyuk has this kind of, I suppose, theoretical advantage that he's going to have his Mutalisk out earlier, I think if Jaedong had his Mutalisk out earlier, it would be a massive advantage because of his superior Mutalisk Micro. I'm not sure Hyuk's Mutalisk Micro is up to par to be able to deliver the damage to Jaedong that he needs to be able to, and Jaedong just trying to whittle down Hyuk's defenses with his Zerglings at the ramp. Hyuk holding comfortably so far, and Jaedong sending more Zerglings out now. He's trying to break a way through before those early Mutalisks of Hyuk come into play, and he's just trying to time this attack because he realized that Hyuk will be saving up his larvae for those Mutalisks, so he's going to try and focus down, and Jaedong is going to manage to get those Zerglings through. He's actually going to get a surround on Hyuk's Zerglings, and Hyuk's Zerglings are wiped out. Jaedong with more Zerglings, and Hyuk just didn't have enough Zerglings to hold his defense. He just didn't anticipate in time. He tried to build a sunken, but that sunken isn't going to be up in time. The sunken just pops up and gets killed instantly. Jaedong, with Zergling streaming in, is just going to wipe Hyuk out of this game before he's even got those Mutalisks into play. Jaedong with the perfect timing of his attack, and Hyuk, unfortunately, and that's just brilliant by Jaedong. Obviously, he had the overlord in place, so he knew the timing of that sunken. But now Jaedong has got Zerglings in Hyuk's base. Hyuk still not with the Mutalisks popping out, and now the Spire coming under fire as well. And really, Hyuk not putting up any resistance whatsoever. And now the Spire goes down, so he manages to get 2 Mutalisks out. I'm sure there's other larvae are popping out as well. And his economy is also in tatters. He's lost a number of drones. Jaedong has just delivered 1 killer punch, and unfortunately for Hyuk, he just doesn't have the strength to take it. And I've got to say, it's a little bit disappointing. More on the movies later on, more on my thoughts on Terminator Salvation in the next game. But it's just a little bit disappointing to me as a StarCraft fan that the Hwasong Oz coach would choose to put Jaedong against Hyuk and choose to avoid Bisu in Fantasy, knowing I personally think that that's not a great strategy. I think that you've got to back your players. You've got to have faith and confidence in your stars. Hyuk now coming in with the Mutalisks to try and do some damage to Jaedong, managing to take down a single drone. I'm not even sure if he's taken down a single drone, because I actually don't see any blood or corpses there. So Hyuk with his Mutalisk, just about as ineffective as he was defending that ramp. Again, I have respect for him to getting this far, but you can see that he's clearly outmatched, and he's going to have to work on his skills to get them up there before he can hope to take on a player and dream of having a chance against a player of the caliber of Jaedong. Even though I feel Hyuk's build was probably just a little bit better than Jaedong's. Personally, I feel those early Mutalisks can be really deadly if played well, but obviously he had to hold that ramp, and he wasn't able to do so, and Jaedong timing his attack perfectly. And now Jaedong coming in with his Scourges and the Mutalisks just to finish Hyuk off. Hyuk trying to put up a spirited fight here, doesn't want to concede straight away, but he's really got nothing to speak of. He's got a total of 4 drones left in his base, a handful of Zerglings, and finally he GG's. So Jaedong takes the first game as predicted, and he looks almost angry. I think Jaedong is almost angry with his coach. Hyuk obviously with a curl of the lips, but I feel Jaedong is almost angry at being forced to play an opponent who is clearly not going to challenge him in any game of StarCraft anytime soon, and almost I suppose not really even needed those high fives. It wasn't like it was a great achievement for Jaedong. Nevertheless, 1-0. The scores on the board. It's important to get the scores on the board, guys. This is KlazartSc. Thanks for listening.